Emma. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. Thanks for taking the time on a Saturday morning to have a chat about this very exciting new venture.
Thank you for having the time. That's all I have at the moment, time.
All right, so let's get straight into the chat, Jen. So I have a few questions for you, and what I'm really keen to understand, first of all, being an artist in this very strange time, how did you cope with the news that Ladies of the Bay was not going to go forward as a touring show, and how did you then decide to pivot and turn it into a podcast?
Okay, well, I was devastated, as we all were, about COVID. I was in denial for quite a while. I think 2 weeks leading up to when we were supposed to tour, that's when everyone went nuts with all the toilet paper and everything. Like, everything was gone. It's like, oh, people need to calm down. Like, this is ridiculous. And we were still rehearsing up until even the Sunday. We had a dress rehearsal with our sound and technical operator, and we were supposed to go on tour on Tuesday. I was like, no, we're fine. It's going to be fine, guys. Like, we're just going to go. And, we had an excellent rehearsal. And then on the Monday or Tuesday, I think it even was, that's when La Mama were like, we're out. We just can't. Like, we've been shut down. And because we were with La Mama Mobile Touring, we were like, it really depends on the venues that you're going to. So then I rang some of the venues, and half of them were like, we still want you to come. And then some of them were like, we can't have you. And so I had to make the horrible decision to be like, I think we have to postpone. And then on the Tuesday night when we were going for the final rehearsal, or to like get all the stuff, like all the set and costumes into the traveling trucks, the touring vehicles, we were packing them down and putting them into storage. And then, like, afterwards, the girls came back to my house and we had wine and pizza, and we're kind of upset because it was really, really hard. Because also in theatre, it's like when you're rehearsing something, it's a really fine line for the show to be like ready to go for an audience and then overcooked almost. Like, we've peaked too early, and now when you have opening, it feels a bit flat or whatever. But we were so ready. I was like, we're perfect position where we need to be for opening. So that was pretty devastating. But then it became such a bigger thing. COVID-19 has become such a bigger thing than just one tour, which is kind of also hard to swallow. So then, everything happened for a few months, and then La Mama got word that they were allowed to reopen again in September, and I had to sort of put my producer hat back on and contact all the other venues. And all the other venues wanted us, but they were like, but we can only have 10 people in an audience. And as a producer, that's like, well, we're not even going to make back our money. I'm not going to be able to pay the cast. Like, we can't do that. And also we want this story to be able to reach more people. So I was like, okay, well, what else can we do? And I tried to do a broadcast. We were working on that for a couple of months with La Mama and the other venues, where we were going to get a film crew in and film it in a theatre with the set and the costumes live, like kind of how the National Theatre do it when I used to go to Cinema Nova back in pre-COVID and watch the shows that way, the theatre shows from London. And we were all set to do that. That was all going ahead. And then the second lockdown happened in Melbourne. La Mama they were like, nah, we're not opening. And also you can't even have people come in and film in the building. So then I went, okay, well, we're going to do it in someone's backyard. And then the 5K radius thing came in, and none of us could actually even get to anyone's backyard to film it. And then we tried to do it ourselves in isolation. We all set up one day where we had a camera each in our backyard, and I tried to edit it together. And it was fun, but the product wasn't very good. And I just was, I don't want to put this story out unless it's in a medium that respects the story. Like, it would have been really homemade, and happy to do homemade things, but not for this project, and on this scale. And that's when I thought, I've been listening to lots of podcasts at the moment, that I thought it's such a beautiful story. There's a whole section in the story which is a compilation of all the people that I interviewed for research that has been put together. And then I thought, well, maybe we can still listen to it. And so that's what we've done. We have turned it into a podcast, which people will be able to listen to the story. And we're so grateful because two of the original venues, have committed to their artist fee that they originally paid for the show to support us, and La Mama are also supporting the podcast, which is just amazing, which really shows that people are really appreciating artists and knowing how tough we are doing it and still wanting content. So yeah, that's the long-winded story.
It's amazing. It sounds like there's been quite a journey to get to the stage that you're at now with the podcast. But I think it's a really exciting new venture, because this is the first podcast Girls at Good have ever done. Is that right?
That's correct. So we've been doing a lot of troubleshooting, but also having so much fun. And actually, when I announced it to the girls, they were like, "Oh my gosh, we're so excited," because it's kind of been like this ongoing battle and losing the spark of the show. So we're all pitching in, we're all researching, sound effects and helping with a lot of the media release and social media and stuff like that. And I'm learning how to edit a podcast. And also getting other gag members like Constance, who actually was the assistant director on our original tour a few years ago, 2019, doing voiceover for the podcast, which is just so great to have her involved as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. I had a little sneaky peek of her voiceover, and it's really excellent. So I think listeners are in for a treat there. All right, let's talk a little bit about the show. So tell me, maybe if you could describe for me the show or the podcast in 3 words to really give audiences the essence of what it's about.
I think it's sneaky. It's fun, and it's a good one for people who want to reminisce.
Great, so it's got a bit of that nostalgic feel to it.
Yeah, and I don't think it is just for women, but it is women, but I did interview a couple of men as well, but it is for women in the cast, but so they're talking about, their situations and experiences, but I think sneaky and cheeky. It's quite honest as well and raw at times. I think that's more than 3 words. Sorry.
That's all right. We'll let it slide. Okay, and tell me a little bit about your role in the show. So obviously you are a huge part in the brains behind the show and the podcast, having gone all the way from interviewing people to pulling the show together. But I want to hear a little bit about your role in acting in the podcast as well. So tell me a little bit about your character. What do you like about her, and what do you think audiences are going to get out of your character?
Yeah, I play Tracy, who I love. She's the oldest sister. There's siblings in there, and she's an older sister, and I'm the youngest in my family. So it was quite fun being an older sister, and I sort of boss Nat, my sister, in the play a bit. I think she's pretty out there, pretty ballsy a little bit, but she's also really got this insecurity about her and her marriage. Like, so she's very close. She's probably one of the leaders in the group with Fiona, but at the same time, they shut her down when she's out of line a little bit, and I think she finds that a little bit hard. So then she sort of probably puts down Nat a little bit. So she's quite a dynamic character, but I think she's really strong. But she's insecure. There's this insecurity about her relationship, I think, with her husband, which is very subtle, but she's Trace, she's just like, she's, they're all at her caravan at the Surfside One caravan park, and she's the hostess with the mostess, although she doesn't really do much. She makes her little sister bring all the nibbles and do all the work, but it's her presence that they come for. And she just knows everything. She just is all over it. Knows everyone's business. Oh yeah, and she has an opinion about everything. But she's beautiful, like really heartfelt, I think. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh,
I can tell. And there's obviously been a lot of heartache in this entire process, but now that we're getting to this really exciting new venture, I guess just maybe we'll close with you just telling me about your favorite part of the process so far.
Of doing the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. My favorite part, because we were still getting financial support from some of the venues, we were able to buy these really beautiful microphones, and mine's gold. And so getting that and feeling fancy with that is really good. So we've got all these beautiful mics, and then our setups, like I get in a cupboard and it's like this big and I'm like this the whole time, and you're trying to do these warm-ups and be vocally there and present, but I'm literally in a cupboard. I think the other girls is in a tent, one's in a wardrobe. One just had a hockey stick. Kel has a hockey stick with a doona over her and she's just holding it here because you've got to have this kind of sound space, whatever, I don't know what it is. And trialing and error and that, being like, nah, that doesn't work, go somewhere else. Okay, cool. Like I was in the toilet at one stage with a big doona thing over, being like, is this sound good? What's this sound like? So now I just get in the cupboard. It's just like, okay, we're going to record the next episode. I'm like, righto, and I don't fit. Like it's pretty. So that's been super fun. That's probably been my favorite part. Like having these fancy professional mics and then these really homemade makeshift areas to try and make it sound good.
I love it. Look, artists are always very creative, and I guess putting together a podcast, you've still got to be creative, especially when you're sort of in lockdown.
Exactly. No fancy studios here.
Awesome. Well, I think, Jen, why don't we just finish off? I think you've mentioned that a couple of the venues have actually very kindly allowed us to hold on to the artist fee. So why don't we give them a bit of a shout out to say thank you as well, just to close out?
Yeah, absolutely. So Dean's Marsh Community Cottage, we love, and we're going to be doing lots of things with them in the future. Lisa from there, who runs it, is just such a beautiful person and so excited. I've done a show, I've done a tour there already, and can't wait to go back. And Camperdown Community House, Emily there has been really supportive and really ongoing for artists as well, and Girls That Good. And of course La Mama Theatre, which this wouldn't even exist without them, and they've just every step of the way of this, even up into this podcast, all the team there, like Soph and Amber, and even though Caitlin's on maternity leave, she's still very helpful as well. But and Solange, who does the social marketing there, social media marketing. Everyone at La Mama have been amazing. So yeah.
Yes, we love La Mama.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have made these connections with these venues who want to continue the relationship. They're like, we just want to, we don't want this to end, and we want to support you and for future. Like we're thinking of our future rather than just this project. So that's really exciting on a whole nother level.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, Jen, so we're going to wrap up now. Is there anything else that you want listeners to the podcast to know before they tune in?
I think that you should listen to it while having a cheeky drink at happy hour. It's very it's set over, like the first 4 episodes are set over having happy hour at the local caravan park with your friends and your mates. So definitely for those ones. And the second, the final, I don't want to give too much away. The final episode will be for a cheeky wine as well. But definitely for the first ones, grab some friends, chuck it on the loudspeaker if you're allowed to have friends, or be in an open space, or just by yourself, get a glass of Chardonnay or whatever you fancy and listen and join in, because it's about fun and letting people have some time as well, just to chill and enjoy.
Awesome. All right, Jen, thank you so much for your time. Can't wait to hear the podcast.
No worries. Thanks, Emma. Bye.